All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Chakwadash. Double honors unto our apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well. Much peace and blessings to all you since I came out there that's pushing this 100% truth with all sincerity, faith, and with charity. This is your brother Ash from the Great Millstone Miami Camp, coming back with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai. Lord willing, this lesson is edifying unto the elect. This is going to be a quick lesson going into how the morale of the soldiers here in Babylon the Great, or soldiers that are enlisted in the United States military, is extremely low. The morale is extremely low of not only the soldiers, but the young fighting age males here in Babylon the Great. The men that would go to war for this so-called country, which is really a corporation. Okay. So I'm going to play this clip. I'm pretty sure brothers have seen it, of this Marine speaking before the Senate. Okay, and he just got carried out like he was about to perform a terrorist act. Okay, let's just play it real quick.
Israel is the reason for this war. America does not want to fight this war for Israel.
Let's go. Come on, let's go.
America does not want to send its sons and daughters to war for Israel. Your inability to name that shows your ineffectiveness as leaders. Out. This is wrong, Doc. And nobody wants to fight for Israel. Just a reminder to all our Commandant, please stand up as a Marine and stand up for America. No one wants to fight for Israel.
Sir, thank you for your service.
Senator broke his hand. The Senator broke his hand.
All right, so there you see, you have this United States Marine going to speak before a Senate, and he said it straight up. Israel is the reason for this war, which we all know. Okay, and they didn't let him get 2 sentences out before they snatched him up, yoked him up immediately after he said that, which shows you they know it's true. They just don't want people to hear. Okay, so how does something like this fuel young men and women? Okay, because you have women in the military and the armed services now, which is a joke. But how does this motivate young men to go and join the military? It doesn't. Okay, a nation is only as strong as the young men that are willing to go and fight for it. Okay, and every nation, no matter what nation, okay, Babylon included, the citizens of that nation should have no real problem with going and fighting and going into war for their nation. Every citizen of every nation should feel almost as if it's an honor to go and fight for their nation. Us here in this truth, those of us that are the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel, we're fighting for Yahweh Bashmi Al-Shai. We're fighting for our nation, Yashar Allah. And we know that it can lead with us losing our lives. And we don't have no problem with that. We look at it as an honor, which it is. And that's because we know that our nation is a righteous nation. Our cause is a just cause. Our power, our Father is just. And we're going to get a reward for fighting in this war. It's the war between good and evil. And no other nation on earth can say that. But at the same time, every nation, every person of that, each nation should feel close to the same if they have to fight for their nation. Okay, there was a time when young men of the U.S. would go to war, different battles, Vietnam or the war in Iraq. Let's use the war in Iraq, for example. You had a lot of men, when they went to go fight in the war of Iraq, they felt like they were doing the right thing. Obviously, because of the huge psyop that took place in 01. Okay, they felt like they were getting revenge, getting payback on the Arabs. Okay, but we've fast forward now and found out that war was a banker's war. That war was for the small hat. There were no weapons of mass destruction. And you have a lot of soldiers, they feel duped. Okay, and the same goes right now. It is being made manifest that Babylon the Great has been bought and paid for by the tiny tops. And as the Marine said, no one wants to die for Israel. No one wants to go to war and fight for Israel. Okay, it's one thing for somebody to say, I'm willing to go fight for my nation, because that's where your family lives, that's where your history is. You have a deep feeling of pride and connectivity to that nation. But how is someone supposed to feel about going to war and potentially dying, killing and dying for a total different nation that they have no connection with? So that is a sign that America is losing. The war is already lost. The soldiers are already defeated in the mind. And every battle begins in the mind. Okay, I got this search for morale. I just did a Google on morale. It says morale is the collective confidence, enthusiasm, and sense of purpose shared by a group, reflecting their dedication to a goal, especially during challenging times. High morale manifests as high engagement, cooperation, and positive attitudes, while low morale presents as high turnover, absenteeism, and negativity. It is driven by factors like supportive leadership, clear purpose, and recognition. You see that? So I want to key in on the driving factors like supportive leadership. Well, who is the leadership? Begins with your president, the senators, Congress, and leaders in the military, the generals, lieutenants, sergeants, so forth and so on. As we see clearly, when Trump first got into office, a lot of these Edomites were proud, they were happy, they felt like they did something. They think, okay, this is the turning point for America. We're going to be great again. Right? Trump ran on ending wars. He ran on it's time for peace. It's time to make money. And now we clearly see that he is only there in office to benefit the tiny tops and the international bankers. That's it. He doesn't care about you average, everyday, peon, so-called white people. So there is no supportive leadership here in Babylon the Great. Okay, it says clear purpose. Well, this war in Iran, there is no purpose for it. First, they said the reason being was to get rid of their nuclear capabilities, nuclear warhead producing capabilities. Then they said it's because they're oppressing their citizens, they're killing protesters. Okay, then it was, they're threatening America, they're threatening Israel. They are not a direct threat to America. Okay, they don't have missile capabilities that can launch here to America. Okay, they are not a direct threat to America whatsoever. Okay, they're being pushed into a corner where they have to fight. They were in talks, peace negotiations with America when they were struck last year with the 12-day war. I believe it was last year and this time. So there is no clear purpose of why America is sending their soldiers to go fight against the Iranians. So you have people joining the military. They're starting to see, they may have joined with the purpose, I want to fight for my country. Now they're seeing, no, they're there to be cannon fodder for the elite bankers. Okay, for Netanyahu. Okay, and as well as recognition. Well, you clearly see how they just treated that U.S. Marine. So obviously there is no recognition for soldiers. Okay, you have VA, I believe Veterans Affairs. There's tons of stories. The list goes on of people sharing their nightmares dealing with VA, trying to get their just dues from the U.S. military. How many soldiers you see, or ex-soldiers, ex-Marines, and so forth, in the streets begging for money? Of course, not all of them are real Marines, but some of them are. Having a hard time paying their bills, having a hard time coping with the stress and trauma that they got from the military. Okay? As a matter of fact, let me grab this. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 26, verse 28. There be two things that grieve my heart, and the third maketh me angry. A man of war that suffereth poverty. You see that? A man of war that suffereth poverty. If someone, it doesn't matter what nation it is, if a man is willing to go and fight for his nation, put his life on the line, he's supposed to be set up. If he makes it back home, he's supposed to be set up. He's supposed to be put in a good condition as a reward for his service. Meanwhile, here in America, you got ex-soldiers struggling and stressed out once they come back here. And it's supposedly the greatest country on earth. And men of understanding that are not set by, and one that returneth from righteousness to sin, the Lord prepares such a one for the sword. Okay, so just by what we saw with that Marine, he was just making a simple statement, speaking truth. Israel is behind this war. Americans don't want to die for Israel, and they broke the man armed, treated him like he was a criminal, and they arrested him. See that? So again, this is killing the morale of young so-called American men, which in turn is going to lead to America losing in this war, which we know is biblical prophecy for America to lose. We know America is going to be destroyed by thermonuclear missile fire at the end of the day, no matter what happens with the boots on the ground. But this is just a sign. This is just writing on the wall of what's to come. Okay? It's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 51 and verse 30. The mighty men of Babylon have forborne to fight. They have remained in their holds. Their might have failed. They became as women. They have burned her dwelling places. Her bars are broken. Okay, so the mighty men of Babylon, the young fighting age males that are supposedly set up for the protection of the nation, they're giving up hope in this country because there is no hope. They're starting to see that this thing is a whole big joke. Okay, DJT is showing that clearly, and he was their last hope. He was the last, the great white hope, and now they're seeing that he's full of it too. So they're just completely giving up. So why would they go and fight? You even have what's going on right now on this certain naval ship that was headed for Iran. You have the soldiers flushing down t-shirts, getting the toilets backed up, hoping that they would turn the ship around. They got problems on the ship where they can't even shit. They saying people waiting in line for 40-45 minutes to use the toilet because most of the toilets aren't working. If that don't show you that the U.S. military is full of shit, you know what I'm saying? What will? So again, this is a sign of what's to come. This is showing you that the U.S. military is getting ready to go down. It's already going down. Okay? But that's pretty much it. This is something I just wanted to bring out real quick. With that, call Allah Yahweh Shai. Shalom.